Hi, I'm Steve from the Stonecrafting Workshop. I've been thinking about trying to do some lettering using the rotary grinder for some time now, but I've kind of been putting it off because it's quite a challenging idea. Lettering, to look any good at all, has to be reasonably accurate. And getting accuracy with the rotary grinder is quite difficult. But I finally bit the bullet and had a go at it, and I came up with this. I made this. It's lettering carved in relief, that's standing proud of the background, in natural slate. This is a natural slate coaster or a placemat with a riven finish. That's a rough natural finish. The lettering was left with that riven finish, and the background was textured using one of the diamond burrs and then painted to highlight it. The interesting thing is that if I wanted to do this with a hammer and chisel, which was my kind of natural inclination, you couldn't do it because the slate is really thin and it would simply smash it. And it has that in common with slate roofing tiles. Lots of people use slate roofing tiles as house signs because it's a bit of slate lying around, and generally they just paint them and they don't look very good. But doing it this way, you can come up with something that's really, really good. I simply used the Parkside Cordless grinder, and I bought a set of burrs from Lidl's, like this, diamond burrs. They cost me £2.50. What a bargain. And the only thing you're going to need that's in any way specialist, apart from the rotary tools, is some printable vinyl paper. It's a self-adhesive paper, it's got a backing on it, and you can simply print out any design that you create in a Word program or a drawing program. You can simply print it out on your inkjet printer just like a piece of paper, but then it peels, the back peels off, and you can stick it on the surface, and it's a plastic, in effect a plastic serve, and you can cut round it and you get a really neat design that you can follow using the grinder. So if you want to see how I did all that and made this, which I think is pretty smart, join me in the video. So the first thing we're going to do is put this on the radiator to warm up. I want the surface of this warm. But before we do that, I'm going to clean it with a spot of meths. And this is just to make sure that there's no dust or little specks of grease on the surface. Use meths, not white spirit. That done, I'm now going to put that on the radiator just to warm up. And we're going to deal with the printable paper. You're going to need a nice sharp knife. I'm going to use one of my craft knives and a straight edge. Right, so I've cut out the lettering, the panel for the lettering, and now all we have to do is to stick this onto the slate in position. Right, so as you can see, I hope you can see, I've centered the lettering. I've then drawn a box around it, allowing a minimum of a 5mm gap between the lettering. And that's so that you can get the tools in between the lettering and the border. So our next job is to put this on the slate. But while we're waiting for the tile to warm up a bit, let's just talk about the font you should choose. Try and choose a font that hasn't got serifs. Serifs are the little sticky outy bits that you get on things like Times Roman and Georgia font, because they'll make your job engraving this a lot harder. If you want to keep it really simple, choose a straight font like Arial or Verdana. The reason we're using the vinyl is because it's a plastic material. When we warm up the tile, this plastic will adhere to the riven surface and take up the undulations that are naturally there, so that when we come to paint it, the paint won't run under the plastic. That's the theory. Let's see if it works. So the first thing we've got to do is peel back a corner of this paper. Incidentally, if you're buying this vinyl paper, I suggest you get the one like I do with a yellow backing, because then you know what's the front and what's the back. I bought one pack that was all white on both sides, and you actually have to peel it before you can work out which side is which. So let's just pull back a little bit on the end and fold it. And then we're going to position this. You can use a tape measure, or you can do what I'm doing, which is do it by eye. Hold it in position. Once you're happy where it's in the right place, and simply press down that end. And peel this on, running it across like that. And now what we want to do, we want to run our fingers over the vinyl, pushing it into the riven undulations of the slate. Okay? Does that make sense? Once I've done this, I'm going to quickly go around the lettering just to tidy up any bits I've missed or have not cut very cleanly. Then I'm going to put it back on the radiator, let the whole thing warm up a bit more, and then just press these back down into place. We have a rough decorator. So it's mask on time, extractor on time, and let's get on with it. A little bit here without wearing my mask, and I'm going to show you the process I'm going through just for your interest. First of all, I'm holding the tool two-handed. If you turn it so this button is downwards, you can get hold of it like that without constantly pressing the button. Now I'm holding that in my left hand because I'm right-handed. Okay, it sounds weird, but then I'm guiding the tool with my right hand, either like that or like that, depending on what I'm doing. I'm going to take the waste material away from this side of the D, just to show you, going this way. So the tool, it's a flat, a roller with a flat end. So that's pointing in towards, and then I'm going to turn the whole thing round and just create the edge in the way that I've done on this eye. So by keeping the tool down at a sort of flattish angle to the slate, I'm creating quite a deep cut, and I'm taking away a lot of the waste material. Having done that, I'm now going to roll along the edge of the tool, and I'm holding the grinder up in the air somewhat. And I'm simply stroking it along the line to create a nice edge to the letter. Okay. And I'm resting my left wrist on the material to steady everything, because the difficult thing with using a rotary tool is keeping it steady. it has a natural tendency to skite around all over the place. Quite good. We haven't finished yet. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to put the slate on the radiator, and you can put it in front of a fan heater as long as it's not too hot. And if you're going to put it in front of a fan heater, heat the back of it, not the front. I'm going to continue brushing this for a minute or so because I want all of the dust out of it, and then we'll come back and we'll paint it. The reason I warmed up the slate was because as we were working, you'll have lifted some of the vinyl edges. So all this needs pushing down again, just to make sure the paint doesn't leach underneath it. And the other reason is that because the slate's nice and warm, the paint will dry pretty much on contact if you're using the right paint. And the paint we're going to use is this, Plasticoat Fast Enamel, Fast Dry Enamel. It dries almost on contact, and what we're going to do is give it 2 or 3 very, very thin coats, and then I'm going to give it a coat of clear acrylic, which is a UV protecting spray because this is metallic. So that's it. It's 2 coats of the copper paint and a thin coat of the acrylic spray. The only reason I'm using the acrylic clear spray is because this is metallic paint, and in sunlight almost all metallic paints discolour unless you UV protect them. If you were painting this with white or red or something like that, it wouldn't matter. You wouldn't have to do that. So, moment of truth. So there we go. It's looking pretty good. There's 1 or 2 spots on the corners where the paint has, and you can simply go around, cleaning up the edges where it's leached under the vinyl a little bit. So now the final touch. I'm just going to finish this off with teak oil. When you put teak oil on slate, you only need a very thin coat. Rub it in, and then you buff it off. Don't leave it on to dry, it looks horrible, streaky. And there we are. One really nice looking house sign. If you want to fix this on the wall, you would either glue it straight to the wall or drill it. You can drill it with one of these. If you've got one that's, you know, a roller cutter that you haven't used, so it's still got diamond on the end, it will actually go through slate quite easily. Alternatively, use a sharp tungsten drill and just drill 2 holes or 4 holes or whatever you want. I hope this inspires you to have a go. It wasn't that difficult. It took me about 4 or 5 hours, I suppose, with a bit of titivating about and a break in between. And it's a really nice sign. I think anybody would be pleased to have it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to see me do more crafting projects, I'm going to do a lot more lettering with the Dremel, because I find it quite an interesting exercise. And if you want to see that, then subscribe to the channel. Thank you again.